So we just made it to the Ancient Cedars RV Park just outside of Mesa Verde National Park in Colorado. And I'm going to fill you in more about it right after this. Okay, so if you are planning to stay at this RV park, it is a bit rustic. In fact, it's quite rustic. I don't mind rustic. We were able to level into okay. Here's us. The nice thing about it is there's a lot of shade. I haven't checked the Wi-Fi yet, but if you choose to go to this place, you need to be very careful. If your GPS is the Garmin GPS, it basically said, oh, okay, you're here, and we're in the middle of the highway, and there was nothing. And then the Garmin just shut off because it figured we were already there. You have to take the exit for Mesa Verde National Park. Doesn't say that in the GPS, but you have to take that off-ramp to get to a frontage road that will then take you to this park. You will be turning right on the frontage road in order to get here. So, you know, check it out, go to satellite view and do everything you can to find it, and hopefully you won't have to have the problem we had. We wound up driving 6 miles down to the next town before we found a spot we could turn around. So it was a little bit 12 miles out of our way. Normally I check these things the night before. My mistake, my fault. I did not do that on this one. I looked at it on the map, it looked right, but satellite view sometimes will tell you a little bit more. Our Mesa Verde tour. We're here at the museum by Spruce Tree House, so we're going to check out the museum and Spruce Tree House. We'll also be doing the drive around the Mesa Loop, so kind of cool. There's one whole section that's not open, probably not for the entire year. They're actually demolishing a building, building a new building, putting in new water lines, and apparently there's a lot of construction going on, so that particular tour route is not open. Well, a lot of the exhibits are being redone in the museum, so there really wasn't a lot of going on in there. But there was a very good film that talks about the people and where the migration. major story difference in when we were here 20 some odd years ago. Back then, they referred to the people as the Anasazi, an ancient people that had disappeared. They realized now that's not the case. Well, they kind of realized then it wasn't the case either, but they're actually the ancestors of the Pueblos, and they kind of broke off and formed like 12 different communities through the South. So yeah, very cool history. Spruce tree house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what I remember. It was just kind of this meandering, winding road, and it's right there.
Oh, wow.
There's no going down really far and then coming back up on a 30-foot ladder. Finally, they got one of these right. Oh. Waterfall, yes.
Oh, there's an overlook there.
Yeah. So you start out at the museum, and we start down this kind of switchback, gentle trail. Isn't that a nice thought? A gentle trail that's paved on top of it.
Should have brought my walking sticks.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, but I should have brought my walking sticks. Might be easier for me. But...
if for nothing else, having the opportunity to use your walking sticks.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I bought them for.
Well, I do know that it is an easier path once it is open. I'm surprised it is closed. Spruce Tree House was a self-guided tour. There's also ranger tours of it, but it's closed for visitors right now. So hopefully when you're visiting, you won't be. See if we can get another view from this viewpoint. It's behind the trees. Very cool. It's interesting, as you look into the cracks of the mountains, you see other dwellings that are small. I don't know, is that like a mother-in-law house? I don't know. Yeah, there's a couple over there. They're too small to be communities. So when you come in, make sure you check this out. I guess there won't be a standalone video after all, because there's no going down there. But it is an easier walk. There is at least a ladder coming back out again, but it's not too bad. Now, according to the history and archaeological evidence, they arrived in this area between 300 and 500 of the Common Era, and they lived on the mesa tops, and they did their farming there. And then the last couple hundred years, they gradually moved down into the cliff dwellings. The story goes, a lot of people originally thought they went to the cliff dwellings for protection from warring tribes, but they know that's not the case because they took their time getting down there. There was a gradual migration into the cliff dwellings. So if you're being attacked, you wouldn't wait. You would move pretty quick. So they realized the main reason for moving down there was water, and that is because the water would seep through and form natural springs in those alcoves, and they would have a constant supply of water and not have to hike down to get it. There was also shade during the summer. They were able to keep it warm during the winter with fires. So all the way around, great location. And they would still climb out, and that's the crazy thing, through little handholds and toe holes to climb out of the canyon in order to do their farming. I wish we could get down there. That's a shame it's closed.
Yeah, it's closed.
You know, I think I want to ask when we get back up, what was the reason?
You know, helping for your crops, just, you know, because, you know, being in such high elevation.
So we had a guide, a ranger, that was talking about Spruce Tree House. It's become very unstable, the mountain cliffs above it. They knew about this problem back in the 40s, and if you look at that little divot area right in here, they filled it with cement, they put rebar in it to try to stabilize it, and unfortunately nothing worked. Back around 2015, I think she said, there was a huge boulder that broke loose and fell into one of the kivas. They realized it was going to be way too dangerous, and the liability to let people down there was not going to happen. Yeah, when we were down there probably 20 some odd years ago, we were lucky that we actually got in there, because that's just...
Yeah, we were very lucky.
And the sad thing about it, if you notice, there's a kiva down there. If you got a shot, a picture of that, there's a kiva that's actually covered up. Now, none of the kivas are covered in any of the other sites, because when a family left, they would burn the roof of the kiva, and that kind of let people know, okay, this is our ancestors, you're not allowed here, we may be back, or whatever, whatever they meant with that. But they filled a few in that you could actually go down into, but now now it's too dangerous. So it's been closed for a number of years, and probably for quite a few years to come, unless they can figure out how to protect and shore up nature. And you get a mountainside like that, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's like she said, you can't stop nature.
So this is one that's probably not going to ever open up again. It's sad to think.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because over on this side, you can see at the top of the mesa where the green is and where they would have farmed up in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Well, their farming was not big. It was just small areas.
Our ranger that was just talking to us, that filled us in on some of that other information, I asked the question, what were those little side buildings for that we had seen over there? And they're granaries. They would store the grain there, but she has an accent because she's from France, I'm guessing, and it came out as granary, and I had, granny? Oh my God, I was right. That's the granny's house. But no. Now, my second theory, besides being the mother-in-law house, is that it was the teenage boy that wanted his own room and knows everything. So yeah, you go ahead, dude, have your own little room over there. But nope, it was for storage.
So bad.
I mean, it makes sense though, doesn't it? She's not amused. Not amused. Okay. All right. I guess we'll be moving on. Pueblo, 1200 AD. That's about the time they would have been starting to migrate down into the canyon, or possibly even a little before that. They were in the canyon by 1200 and 1300 AD. So yeah, this is one of the last locations above ground. So the Sun Temple behind me was actually not predating the cliff dwellings, but was a part of the cliff dwellings there's still a lot of speculation of what this place was. Was it a place for rituals and ceremonies? Was it a religious location? Was it a way of keeping time? Did it have something to do with astronomical events? So no one really knows for sure, but it does date at the same time of the cliff dwellings themselves. All right, I have to mention this one. So there's been a question that has been bugging me the whole time we've been here, and I finally had a moment to ask a ranger in private. So this was a pottery making society, and if they needed to use the privy, the lavatory, the bathroom, they had chamber pots, or they basically just went away from the neighborhood there and went off in the woods and back again. But chances are most of them on a cold night, it would have been a chamber pot. So there you go. Wow, I feel so much better. So that's it for Mesa Verde National Park. All the cool sights and sounds of this place.
Beautiful.
There's so much to see, and we probably
so
just scratched the
beautiful.
surface.
Oh yeah.
In fact, there's one whole loop tour that is closed right now. So hit that subscription button.
And hit that bell, let you know when we post every Sunday.
And 2 thumbs up for good measure.
Yeah.
And Dawn is doing Facebook.
Yeah, I promise I'll get on it.
Yep,
I've been
she's
real
on Facebook.
lazy.
We got motorcycles going by.
Yeah.
So until next time, safe travels.
All right, Slancha.